Dean Hoffman was sentenced to 28 years in prison for kidnapping a woman. While at the Waupun Correctional Institution in solitary confinement, he took his own life. And now his family wants answers from the Department of Corrections. Megan Kolb is Dean Hoffman's daughter. Kolb said she wasn't able to see her father for months before he took his life. That's because in-person visitation has been suspended since Waupun Correctional Institution went into lockdown on March 29th of 2023. And since his death, she often finds herself reading through his old letters.
It's a big game in this unit to keep others from using phones. It's only the second time he got to use the phone since arriving.
The letter she's reading is the last one Hoffman sent to Kolb's mother before he died. In the letter, he talked about appealing his 28-year sentence. Kolb says while Hoffman did have a long documented history of bipolar disorder and suicidal thoughts, in that letter he shows no signs of wanting to end his life.
You know, the suicide coming after him talking about the appeal is just shocking because he was very excited about his appeal.
Hoffman was 60 years old at the time of his death, and Kolb says throughout her childhood his mental health was a concern for the entire family. But once they found him the right medications, it improved his well-being.
Growing up, he would be in his room for weeks on end. As kids, we were like, why is Dad not coming out? I mean, Christmases, everything. He'd be, in his room, or he wouldn't come for visitation, wouldn't pick us up. Later on in life, when I started knowing more about why he did those things, we found out he was bipolar, manic depressive.
While at the prison, Hoffman was supposed to be taking bipolar and antidepressant medication on a daily basis. According to a lawsuit filed by Kolb, prison staff willfully and deliberately ignored their duties to ensure Hoffman had access to mental health medication and treatment. And Lonnie Story is the attorney handling Kolb's case. He says that's one of the main reasons a lawsuit was filed against the Department of Corrections and some of the prison staff.
Takes things another step, and that is the denial of medications, denial of psychiatric evaluations, things of that nature. So his does stand alone as a lawsuit.
Video obtained by Story and Kolb shows that on the day Hoffman died, multiple workers at the prison passed by his cell without checking on him. To get a lawsuit out against the Department of Corrections, that's got to be a lot of work and a lot of undertaking. So you must feel strongly that you can win this.
They were eating cold meals when they did get them. They're isolated in their cells 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Those cells are 6x9 cells with 2 people in them. It was clear to me that this was a solid case to be brought against the Department of Corrections.
Story says Hoffman's experience is part of a bigger issue at the prison.
Her father hanged himself while in solitary confinement. Since that time, there have been 3 other deaths, and there has been a ruling on 2 of those deaths, not the 4th one, which was just February 22nd of this year. So I'm representing those 3 families, including Ms. Kolb and the other 2.
In a response to Spectrum News regarding Hoffman's death, the Department of Corrections says they do not comment on pending litigation. Regarding current conditions at the Waupun Correctional Institution, they say there are minimal restrictions on normal movement at Waupun Correctional Institution. It is inaccurate to say that either facility is in lockdown because the persons in our care are still moving through the facilities and accessing services. Originally, Hoffman's case was closed the same day he was pronounced dead. His family has successfully pressured the Dodge County Sheriff's Office and the DOC to reopen it.
He had people that loved him, right? And I loved him no matter what.
While Kolb understands she can't bring her father back, she hopes the lawsuit will help to save lives in the future.
I want change. I want the rest of the inmates that are in the Wisconsin prison system to get better treatment than my father. I'm hoping that, we can change everything systemically to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else.
Kolb still hasn't told her children that their grandfather's no longer with them. She's waiting until they get a little older to tell them the truth. Reporting in Cedarburg, Cody Taylor, Spectrum News.